Hi, my name is Krishna Dornadula. This presentation is based on Keyloggers. This is part of the FIU MSMIS program ISM 6326 being submitted to Professor Khalil. This video is meant only for educational purposes. I do not endorse using of Keyloggers for any purpose. The softwares and the devices used in this video are used only for educational and demonstration purposes only. So basically, what is key logging? Key logging is the action of recording keys struck on the keyboard. The user or the person using the keyboard is totally unaware that a software or hardware is installed on his computer which is tracking the key logs. That is basically what he's typing on the keyboard. Key logging basically intercepts the signal between the keyboard and the computer. uh, the key logging can be like of two different methods, which is the either hardware where you plug in. I have a keylogger with me. You could just plug in into the PC and record the keys, or it could be in the form of softwares like programs written to record the key log, and you could either email to you or could like retrieve it later. So coming to the software based, a keylogger is basically a program that runs in the background or hardware, recording all the keystrokes. Once the keystrokes are logged, they are hidden in a machine for later retrieval. And basically, the attacker checks the files. What is the basic purpose? He wants to steal important information from you. So it could be either passwords or other confidential information, and he could retrieve it later by using these keyloggers. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The good advantage of the keyloggers is some companies use it to monitor the productivity of an employee, whether he's really doing his work or is wasting a lot of time spending online on Facebook or other websites. The bad part is it can be used for spying because the person is totally unaware that there is a keylogger installed on the computer. The ugly part is that the external hardware can easily caught. Like when you install a hardware based keylogger like this one, you could like easily figure out like there is a keylogger which is installed, and you should be careful if you want to cheat on someone. Okay, keylogging. So keyloggers can be used as a surveillance tool, are often used by employers to, as I mentioned earlier. Such systems are also highly useful for law enforcement and espionage. Uh, you might have heard of the US government tapping the phone calls, and basically they also might have some softwares which are similar to keylogging. Without the knowledge of the user, they record all the texts and messages from different kind of people. And keystroke logging can be achieved by both hardware and software means, as I had mentioned earlier. Coming to the hardware keyloggers, the basic advantage is reliable. Instead of like the software based might should can be used for later retrieval, but the hardware ones are more reliable. But the disadvantage is there's detectable because the user might be able to figure out like there is a keylogger installed. He could directly say it consists of a microprocessor for data logging. So I have one keylogger with me. You could just plug in where the from the keyboard in the personal computer where the keyboard key goes in, and sometimes the user might be totally unaware that there is a keylogger installed. Software keyloggers, the advantage is it's not easily detectable, but the problem with the software keyloggers is it's less reliable. The software is installed on the PC. So you could see, I'm going to show you, I'm going to demonstrate like how you could write a Python program to record the key logging on a computer. There are three different types of hardware-based keyloggers. It could be the inline devices that are attached to the keyboard cable, like this one, as I said. These devices which can be installed inside the standard keyboard. So you might not need to plug it in into the USB port. The keylogger is already present inside the keyboard. And also you have replacement keyboards that contain the keyloggers already built in. So it's similar to the second one. So you could get more information on keyloggers. These are different types: the hardware keylogger, standalone edition. You could like use them for keylogging. So the hardware keylogger, as you can see in the picture, that is the normal input which goes from the keyboard to the computer. And in this image you could see like there is a keylogger which is installed here, and some users might not be aware. So it's just a tiny hardware device that can be attached in between a keyboard and a computer. It keeps a record of all the keystrokes, so it's going to do keylogging. So the hardware keylogger keyboard edition. So this you could see like this keyboard looks like a completely normal keyboard, but the user is unaware that there is a keylogger which is installed inside it, and he could not even see it. So this is one good keylogger, more reliable than the hardware based like this one or the software based. And the administrator can might be able to retrieve the information later. And there are different types of hardware keyloggers. The other types is as there is a firmware based keylogger. The hardware is installed in the BIOS, and it handles keyboard events in the hardware. And keyboard hardware is, as I mentioned, the wireless keyboard sniffers. So sometimes there are wireless keyboards, and this keylogger tries to intercept the signal between the keyboard and the computer and tries to steal information, steal the data which you're typing. Acoustic keyloggers. This is another interesting kind of keylogger in which it tries to what to say anticipate like what the person has typed up by the sound of his typing. And also another type of keylogger is electromagnetic emissions from a keyboard. So depending upon what a particular user is typing, there are different electromagnetic signals which come from the keyboard. The different types of software-based keyloggers are hypervisor-based. This is one type. It resides in the malware, which is like a virtual machine which resides below the OS. I'm sorry. So the user is not aware that it's like it comes as part of the OS, and he could like he cannot detect it easily. API based is basically used for Windows, so you could handle the events, for example get asynchronous key state. So it basically you could like write a program and call the API to check which particular key is being pressed. And form grabbing method, this is another interesting uh, type of keylogging. This is basically on online websites. So after you enter all your information, this particular type of keylogging tries to get the information when you click on the submit button before the data is sent to the server. So log web form submissions by recording web browsing on submit events. Remote keylogging, sending data to email database by installing software. So what they do is they install few programs on the attacker installs a program, and like after he gets the information, he sends it to his email, his personal email. So this is one example of a keylogging file. As you could see, like you could save it as a text file, and when you open it up, you could see like where all the person has gone to, and you could see there is a confidential email which he has typed, "Hello John, buy 100 stock shares of our company," and this was attacked by an attacker, and probably he would have emailed himself. This is just an example. I'm going to show you more when I do the demo. Okay, so this is basically the demo on how you could write a software keylogger. You don't require any hardware. What you need to know is Python programming. So basically, before I show you the program, you need to have Python installed. If you don't have Python, you could visit the following websites. The first one is the python.org, where you could go and download the latest version of Python. And the second website is sourceforge.net. This sourceforge gives you like packages for hiding the windows, and I mean it supports Python for logging the keystrokes. And you need to install all these three softwares in order to mm, do the key logging. And once you're done, you could write a Python program. So I'm going to show you the script which I've written. It's basically on how to do the key logging. So here you go. First, you could import all the Windows Win32 files. Basically, what this code does is it minimizes the windows or making them hidden altogether, because you don't want to see some window running behind while doing the keylogging. And then you import the files which I told you, the other two files. These are necessary to capture the keyboard keys, the Python com and the pyhook. And the third part of the code is hide the Python command. So you don't want the Python command prompt running while doing the keylogging. So you want to enter, and then when the user stops typing, you might want to like exit it at a particular time. So I have basically written it exits on like when the user clicks Control E, but the ASCII code is 5. So when the ASCII code is 5, I'm telling to stop the key logging. And next, I don't want him to record any shift keys. So I say when it is 0 or 8, do nothing. And then I want all the details to be stored in our dkeylogger output.txt file. So first I initially open the file in read mode and store all the details into buffer. I close it and again I open the file in write mode. And then I start saving all the values typed by the user into this particular variable called keylogs. And then after it's done, also I need to record if the user press and enter. So the ASCII value is 13 and I'm replacing in the text file by /n, which basically takes you to the next line. And then once I'm done, I want to write all the keylogs value back to the buffer. I want to append it basically and write it back, and I close the file. And once this basically creates the entire keylogging, and once uh, creates, you could also like then you create the hook manager and sets the hook and record it. So once basically you're done, you could save it and go to the folder. So this is my Python program. You could just double click it. You see there is a command prompt window which would like just appear for a couple of seconds and would immediately disappear. And then you could go ahead and start typing something. And when you're done, you could press on Control E and the output.txt file gets generated. So as you could see, like the output.txt says this is a keylogger testing, like basically whatever you type. So this is a demo on the keylogging software. I could provide you the source code in case you want. So coming to hardware-based keyloggers, the demo, you could like plug in one of these keyloggers into the USB port without the knowledge of the user, and then you get a similar keylogger output file where you could see like ENT means enter. What do you mean? Let's skip school tomorrow, and he press enter. It is basically a chat. Maybe he's chatting with a user. Okay, so you might want to be smart and ensure there's no keyloggers installed on your computer. So there could be different kinds of methods. The basic good, I mean, the regular ones which you could follow is keep the firewall on, use anti-spywares or antiviruses, check your USB ports before you get caught in the class, and check the programs installed. Also, we could maintain a practice of using only the soft keyboard on screen. However, it's not completely secure. What this means is like instead of like using the keyboard like in iPad, you have the soft keyboard. You could just type in by touching the screen. Like so that might not be able to log the keys. These are my references. Uh, I thank Professor Kaleem for giving me this opportunity to do the video on keyloggers. Thank you.